Hi guys, Darth Deuces here with another video, and I'm going to be doing a video I've been wanting to do for a while now, and it is my top 10 action figures of the year so far that have come out in 2020 and that I have purchased. That's basically the criteria. They have come out in 2020 or pretty close. I'll count some things that were 2019 and came out really late that most people wouldn't have got a hold of until 2020. And I have to have bought them, obviously, and obviously I have to like them. But right in front of you here is not the top 10. Rather, this is a bunch of honorable mentions. Because I picked up a ton of stuff that has come out in 2020, and 2020 has already been an amazing year for figures. I knew from the first time I got the very first figure that came out this year, which was that Stu Series Megatron back there. I knew this was going to be a good year for figures, and it has been, and I think it will continue to be. So it'll be interesting to see what the list is actually like at the end of the year. But these are all a bunch of honorable mentions. I just want to talk about some stuff that's come out first before I get into the actual list. So yeah, things like we got the Mezco Cable over there. And you know, Cable is a pretty good figure. Great sculpt and paint. I love that design that Mezco went for him. Great accessories. I love the LED light up feature. It's just the ankle articulation is almost non-existent, so it's hard to get him to some poses. He also should have been a little bit bigger. That Black Series Count Dooku, that might be a surprise for some people. I actually only have one Black Series figure on my top 10 list. Usually I have at least two, sometimes three. I only have one, and I actually only just added him to the list. That Count Dooku probably would have been number 11. That one, I've been waiting for them to release Count Dooku in the line for a long time. I think it's awesome that they finally released them, and I'm glad they released them during the face printing phase. So the head sculpt and face looks fantastic. Articulation's good. Soft goods is great on that figure. It's a figure I'm waiting for a long time, so definitely needs to be recognized. It just didn't quite make my list. In front there, we've had, I think, the only Gunpla that I've built that's actually been released in 2020. I've built a few Gunpla over the course of the months, whatever. But I think this one's the only one that's actually been a new release for this year that I've built. And it's the RX-78-2 Origin Gundam. And I'm perfectly happy with the Revive Gundam high grade. I didn't think I was going to want to build another RX-78, but the Origins made a new one for that line, and it's probably one of my favorite high grades that I have. It detail-wise looks fantastic. I mean, it almost rivals, not quite, but almost rivals real grade, at least in terms of look. I love the colors on it. It comes with a bunch of accessories and some nice different options to build either the early type or the middle type, I believe. Articulation's great. Has some nice, cool moving engineering parts with the articulation. It's just an overall fantastically solid kit. Another one that was really hard not to add on my list. There's the Vintage Collection Cara Dune. There is some Vintage Collection representation on my top 10 list, which is awesome for me to say because I feel like that line's unfortunately been lacking in has been lacking in new releases. What we get new is really good, but we don't get a whole lot. But Cara is a really good figure. If you haven't gotten it yet, I would recommend picking that up. The Cosmic Ghost Rider Legendary Rider is definitely my favorite Riders figure that's been released in that little subline so far. I thought it was going to be on my list, but I picked up things since then that I've just liked and enjoyed more. That's an awesome set. It has the coolest bike out of the Riders, in my opinion. It's quite unique, looks really good. Has a really nice presence in the display. The figure itself, the Cosmic Ghost Rider, I've read a little bit of the run. I'm not actually a huge fan of the run, but I love the idea of the character. And the design of the character is fantastic. Frank Castle, the Ghost Rider, you can't go wrong. Great accessories, good articulation, great figure. McFarlane Toys has very much exceeded my expectations and has really surprised me. I've gotten way more McFarlane Toys figures than I ever would have thought at first. Over there is the two Mortal Kombat, Johnny Cage and Raiden. Both are fantastic. I was always planning to pick up that Raiden. I'm really happy they made a Raiden. It is the dark version, but I do like that version. He looks awesome. He has some awesome accessories. I love the lightning effects he comes with. Well articulated, great figure. And Johnny, I wasn't originally going to get, but I ended up getting him, and I do not regret it. It's beautifully articulated, and it's just such a fun figure to pose, and photograph. He just has so much personality. And then over there, you can kind of see on the back there, that's a recent pickup, is the McFarlane Toys Arkham Asylum Batman, which is a fantastic figure as well. I was really surprised with that one. That one almost made my list as well. I just got it. It's really good. Good articulation, looks fantastic, has some good accessories, although some aren't accurate to the actual game Arkham Asylum. They're from Arkham Origins. It's a little weird. But the figure itself is really good. It looks better than it does in the promotional pictures that you'll see online whenever. If you're looking for a good Batman, I recommend picking that one up. And there's some other the DC McFarlane stuff I picked up. I picked up the new Superman from 1000 Comics. That one's a pretty solid Superman for me, not having a Superman in my collection. The Hellbat Armor Batman I picked up, that one's also really good, but just wasn't like wow enough to put on my list. We already kind of talked about the Studio Series Megatron. That figure's awesome. Has great alternate mode, awesome robot mode. Loved, basically the thing that makes it so good is the paint apps. The silver looks fantastic. And then Storm Collectibles Bane was on my list, or I thought was going to be on my list for a while, but he just got bumped off of it. But it's a fantastic figure. I'm still waiting on, I have the Lobo and the Dark Side on pre-order. Both those probably have potential to be on the actual top 10 list at the end of the year. But Bane's really good. I've been wanting a Bane figure, a good Bane figure for a while. And I'm a fan of the Injustice games. I really like those games, so I really like that figure. It's really well done. Anyways, that's enough of me rambling on about honorable mentions. Let's get on to the actual top 10. Alright, so starting the list off with actually a Mezco 112 Collective figure and a more recent purchase. I got this in the past couple weeks. It is the Mezco Moon Knight figure, the standard release, sort of classic inspired version, which was my preferred version to get. Anyways, I wasn't sure if I was definitely interested in picking this figure up. Wasn't sure if I was actually going to get around to picking it up, but I did. Luckily got it for retail price, which is great. And it's a great figure. The design is classic. It has Mezco's, spin on the classic design. So it's a sort of modernized classic design, which I really like. The head sculpts, both the head sculpts look fantastic. The paint apps are really great. The cape is really well done. Although I do wish it was wired instead of that device they give you for the stand. That still sucks. Comes with a bunch of accessories, some of them using real metal chains, which is great. A lot of different hand options, and just an overall really solid figure in the Mezco 112 Collective line. I think it's definitely one of their better Marvel releases for sure. So this is the list. I keep noticing just how hard it is to make this list. It's crazy that this figure is so high on it. But at number 9, at least for now, it is the Studio Series Shockwave from Dark of the Moon. This is the best Shockwave from those movies we've gotten. The old Voyager, I do have it. It's not bad, but this one just blows out of the water. And it's crazy. This is a retool of the Revenge of the Fallen Megatron mold. But this figure's awesome. Great articulation. Paint job is really good. Pretty accurate to the movie design, really. It's just awesome. He's got the big gun, which looks great. He's got the blade on the side. It's in Romo's technically supposed to go on the underside, but I just like it like this. Head sculpt is fantastic. It's super solid. He came with the little parachute guy and really small brains and wheelie, which is pretty cool to get those characters in scale with the Studio Series. It's pretty cool they do that. I like the little minifigures. Yeah, just really solid figure. Absolutely awesome. And number 8, we have our vintage collection entry here, and it is the Mandalorian. Out of the vintage collection figures that were coming out this year, this is the one I wanted the most because I love the show and I love the character. I have the Black Series 6-inch one, which I also really like, and this one's also really good. You could get either and be absolutely happy with them because they're both awesome. This is really great. I'm going to be honest, it has quickly probably become one of my favorite 3 3/4-inch figures. It is just really good. He's got his 2 guns you can store in the holster, and this one actually pegs into the back instead of the Black Series one just barely hooking into the bandolier. This one actually fully pegs in, which is awesome. Articulation's really good for 3 3/4-inch figure. It's got that modernized vintage collection articulation. He looks great. Paint apps, sculpt, everything looks fantastic. It's a super solid 3 3/4-inch figure. Definitely worthy of being on my list. And at number 7, we have another Transformer. It is the Transformers Earthrise Leader Class Optimus Prime. I didn't think they'd be able to do much better. The Siege one, both the Siege ones were really good, but they did it. They made a better one, and it's really good. I would say it's probably a budget masterpiece in terms of how good it looks and just the gimmicks and accessories and whatnot. It's a budget masterpiece. You know, it's a really good representation of G1 Earth style Optimus Prime. Paint apps, for the most part, are great. Articulation's fantastic. He comes with some good accessories and gimmicks. Like he's got the gun, which I have pegged on his back right now, which I really like. You can actually store it like that. He's got the Matrix of Leadership, which can be stored in the chest, which is like, I don't know if any, there might be other figures like in the main lines have done that, but very few do that. So that's awesome. And I also love how he has the articulated fingers, so you can actually get him to hold it. That's a really cool feature. Has the trailer's nice, has some nice gimmicks itself. Both modes are fantastic. The transformation has some great engineering, but it's not overly complicated, so it's actually still fun to do. It's just overall really solid. The only thing I did is I swapped the Siege head onto this one because the Siege head had better paint. They're both the same head sculpt, but this one had, the Siege one has better paint than the Earthrise. But yeah, once you put the Siege head on it, absolutely fantastic Optimus. You can't go wrong. If you want a really good G1 Optimus, get this one. And at number 6, I have my only Black Series, a 6-inch action figure here, and it is Clone Commander Bly. This figure is, you know, a masterpiece, in my opinion, masterpiece of Black Series figure. It takes all the best parts of the clones that they've done over the years, puts them together pretty much. And it's hard to pick which Black Series figure I wanted to put on the list. Count Dooku was really close. It's basically between Bly and Count Dooku, but there's been some other great figures, you know. The Knight of Ren's been really good. Zori was surprisingly really good. I even really enjoyed the Sith Jet Trooper. Even that Revan repaint from EB Games / GameStop. I wasn't originally going to get that, but I ended up getting that and really like that as well. But I feel like, for me, Bly is the most deserving of it. He has fantastic paint apps, great sculpt, some good little features, like he's got the moving macro binoculars. It comes with some great accessories. You know, we got the blaster pistols and the rifle. Great articulation. He's the only other clone besides Rex to actually have the good elbows, which is great. Just has a nice presence on the shelf. Photographs really well. It's a fun to photograph. Absolutely solid figure. And at number 5, we have a McFarlane Toys figure. It is the McFarlane Toys Mortal Kombat Spawn figure. I know a lot of people for a long time have wanted a super articulated Spawn figure, and we finally got it in the Mortal Kombat line of all places. It's a bit weird, but Spawn is a guest character in Mortal Kombat. McFarlane has the license to do the Mortal Kombat figures, so he kind of got to squeeze in a retail release Spawn figure, and that's awesome. Unfortunately, what's not awesome is it's not super easy to get this figure. I was lucky enough to be able to snag the sword version. There is a mace variant, or second run with the mace weapon instead of the sword coming out. But either way you get those figures, both those accessories look good, and this figure is absolutely awesome. I would not sleep on this figure if you're interested at all in Spawn, or even if you're just like action figures. It's just a good action figure. Great sculpting, fantastic paintwork. You know, good accessory. You could have came with some more accessories. This gun does not come with them. This comes from a different Spawn figure, but he could have made some more accessories, but the accessory he does come with is cool. Articulation's really good. You know, there's some limitations, but for the most part, it's really good. You can get this guy in great poses. And just what you get for the retail price of, well, Canadian $30, I'm assuming USD is $20. You cannot go wrong. It's some of your best bang for your buck for a figure at the price point. I just had him on my desk for a good few weeks after I got him, because I just pick him up and just mess with him. I don't do that with a lot of figures, but I did it with this one. I only just recently put him on the display shelf, so absolutely fantastic figure. At number 4, we have a Amazing Yamaguchi Revoltech figure. It is the Amazing Yamaguchi War Machine. I'm not really a huge fan of this line. I actually got Iron Man at the same time I got this figure, because I thought it would just be good. I was going to get this figure anyways. I thought it'd just be good to get Iron Man to go with him, which I'm really glad I did, because Iron Man's also amazing. Probably would have been on my list if I got him last year. It wasn't on my list last year if I got him last year. But this figure is amazing, hence the name, I guess. I'm not generally a huge fan of the style of the Rebel Tech figures. They go for a more anime-esque look, I suppose. But the armors, the Iron Man, the War Machine, they're not too bad. They still have that sort of anime-esque look, but it's not extreme, I suppose. I don't mind it. It looks really good, and War Machine's great. He comes with a ton of stuff. You know, you can configure him in a ton of different ways. You can have him with only a few guns. You can have him with a ton of guns, like I have here. I got almost all the accessories on him. You got missiles, larger missiles, miniguns, machine guns. You just got it all. You also got repulsor effects, display stand, insane articulation that isn't a hassle to mess with this figure. You can get them looking back to neutral pretty easily, and you can mess with them easily and still not look too bad and all that jazz. It's a fantastic figure, and if you're a fan at all of the line or War Machine, you should definitely be grabbing this one. Really good. And not the only War Machine on this list, surprisingly. And at number 3, we've got another Mezco figure. It is the 112 Collective Magneto. Magneto is my favorite Marvel character, and I was really happy that Mezco was releasing a version of him in their 112 Collective line. And I really like this figure. It's not perfect, but I really like it. It's got a modern Mezco take to the classic costume, which I think works really well. It might be their first figure, or if not, it's one of their first figures to actually have a wired cape as opposed to the wired contraption they put on the stands. And it works pretty well. It makes the figure a lot more fun to pose and mess with, just being able to just pose the cape for the most part how you want it instead of having to fumble around with that stupid thing they used to use. The accessories he comes with, pretty cool. He could have came with more. He comes with not as much stuff I like him to come with. What it does come with is really cool, like that gun disassembly effect I have on right now looks fantastic. Poses really well. The costume's well made. I don't really think it's going to damage anytime soon. I love the design of the helmet. He has an unhelmeted head sculpt, which looks great. Just an overall really solid release. So for my number 2 spot, I'm not 100% sure if this is a 2020 release. It might be a late 2019 release, but from when I look up reviews and videos on this figure, I only see videos from 2020, so I'm just gonna, for now, assume it's a 2020 release for the most part. Correct me if I'm wrong, and if I am wrong, I'll take it off the list. But it is the Sideshow Collectibles 1/6 scale Mythos Boba Fett figure. Within the past couple months of me starting my new job in my field of study, when I've completed my university and all that, coming to some more money, so I've been getting more into the 6 scale realm of figures, and I've been eyeing this figure, and it's really good. I love the design of the Mythos Boba Fett. I like the idea of the Mythos line in general. It's a really cool idea, kind of like what if scenarios designs of characters. It doesn't completely change the design to make it look nothing like what he looks like. It's more like making subtle differences here and there to maybe fit what if scenarios. And I like what they went with here. Went with that sort of a gunslinger, desert wanderer look with this soft goods like Kama and poncho thing he's got going on. He's got wires in these, so you can pose, not like crazy good wires, but you can pose them around a bit, which is really great. Comes with a bunch of accessories. He's got like a tactical knife down there. The tools can come out of the pockets. He's got the standard Boba Fett rifle, but he's also got the grenade launcher thing that I think is originally from the prototype Boba Fett. He's got this big DL-19 repeating blaster rifle. It has the this nice soft goods camo strap to it, which is really cool. Jetpack. He's got the pistol on the holster back there. Articulation decent, nothing crazy, but you can get him in a decent amount of different poses, and just looks really nice on the shelf. Has a nice presence and a really great look for Boba Fett. That's a little bit different than your average Fett. Really great figure. And at number 1 for my top 10 of the year so far is my very first Hot Toys figure that I picked up. It is the Punisher War Machine. I love the Punisher, I love the War Machine, and you put them together, you got something super awesome. I don't see, when it comes to crossovers, it just makes so much sense for the Punisher to use the War Machine armor. I've read the run where he uses the armor. It's a pretty cool run to read. This is actually based on the Marvel Future Fight mobile game design, which I'm completely okay with because I think it actually looks better in the game because it has the helmet that has the skull face on it, which I don't have on right now. I have the Frank Castle portrait on right now, which looks absolutely fantastic. Now, when I actually put him on the shelf, he'll probably have the helmeted version, helmet head sculpt on, but For now, he's got the Frank Castle, and it's just amazing. Experiencing your first Hot Toys is really something else, and this figure is awesome. Die-cast figure, has a ton of die-cast parts in it. Makes him really heavy, like pretty hefty. It's impressive. Articulation's really good. Has some pretty cool engineering. Has LED features, a bunch of accessories. He's got blast effects for his various guns on him. I don't know anything else to say except for the figure is definitely a work of art. It's an amazing figure. I'd say if you're a Hot Toys collector and you like collecting the armors, 100% recommend picking this one up. You'll probably stay number one throughout the year, but we'll have to see. I have the episode 1 Mandalorian pre-ordered, and that's what's coming out this year. So we'll see if he stays on the list at number 1 or not. Anyways, this video is really long. I apologize for that, but thank you guys for watching. Hopefully you guys enjoyed taking a look at some of the figures I've really liked collecting and messing with over the past few months, or first half of the year, or pretty close first half of the year. Let me know what your guys' favorite figures have been of the year so far. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So again, thanks for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.